Oh, what's going on, guys? We should be good. We should be live. We should be all good. I'm a little late. It happens. But no big deal. Make sure we're all good. Okay. We got a lot of lore. Oh, why is it happening? Weird. Oh, I accidentally clicked out. Okay. So, for this, I'm gonna get something to drink because we're gonna be reading a lot in this one because we have a lot of stuff to go over, and we get the level. So I do get to look at what we have in our leveling bit, which we do have to figure out. I do have the sealer build up. We were going what? A trickster. We're kind of merging a couple of things. Let me look. Um, we're kind of going to do what's considered a doubles advocate one, which has the Magus spells. But we're going to kind of do our own thing from there. So, it'll work. This was point blank shot. We took the other one, which does make sense. And we might go into Eldritch Knight, or we might do a little dragon towards the end. We'll kind of see how it goes. But I'm gonna get something to drink right quick, and then we will upgrade our guy. So. All right, so let's kind of take a look at this. we have here. So human can take an extra feat. We do know that. We're gonna go Magus with this one because we can't do anything until we get better armor. So we're gonna take Battle Mage. And here, let's take Athletics. Actually, we want Arcana Knowledge and World. We do want that. Use Magic Device. Persuasion. Oh, that was an extra one. Athletics, and then the extra one goes into Persuasion. Okay. So we already have what? Weapon Finesse? Who's the other one we need? Arcane Strike? I think it was. I think it was. But what else would I get? Not. Spell Focus. Okay, so My dexterity bonus. Much? Um... I don't know what weapon I want to use, so I want to keep this blank. Arcane Strike. Now the other one is, if I had, that would be Precise Shot and Arcane Accuracy. Hmm. Let's look at this. So I'm not sure what to do with this. The combat casting would be good. Okay, I got a good one. So we're gonna do combat casting. Do color spray. Go Ray of Enfeeblement. Is this the last touch spell we don't have? Okay. So combat casting, concentration checks. We get fire learners to be more maneuverable while wearing armor. The armor check penalty is down. Dexterity bonus allowed is 1, so it reduces the armor hit every 4 levels thereafter. Okay. For the fighter ability. Oh, that's this. Okay. We got combat casting. Look at our spell book. We have Burning Hands. Let's go Shocking Grasp. Get True Strike. Okay. We're all good. Okay, so that's ultimately where we have to go. Pick up the chest. Let's put the books in here. Okay. The Camilla? Let's get chat up. We're all good. The Camilla looks already pensively toying with a snake-shaped bone amulet that dangles from her pale neck. Noticing her glance, she flashed you a cold, barely there smile. Greetings. It seems for a moment that the girl wants to say something else, but the pause grows too long. Slips back into a cautious silence. Tell me about yourself. You want to know more about me than you already do. Why? I talk to the spirits of this tormented land, and they guide me in battle. I'll help you fight demons, and I swear that you can rely on me on this matter. Isn't that sufficient? You learned to wield a rapier so well. I had good teachers, although they don't get all the credit, and the most diligent student. Your amulet is quite unusual. Where'd you get it? Oh, my little trinket. It's nice of you to notice, but I assure you this amulet is nothing but a babble. Can I not be drawn to beautiful, useless things? Anyway, as much as I enjoy our delightful conversation, spirits call me. I must respond. Please excuse me. Your speech tells me you're of noble birth. You're the most insightful. A fun quality to have. I believe in being noble as I can. My girl, we're gonna go with Camilla. Mages stick together. Forgive me if my question disturbed you. I couldn't resist as your noble and beautiful lady. I will stop bothering you immediately if talking me upsets you. Not at all. Our conversation is an exquisite delight. Okay. I'll have to go. Talk to you later. Won't keep you. Or will you? Okay, here's Horgus. Take this. There's 2,000 coins. Take your payment. Remember that Horgus Grom always keeps his word. You helped me back to the surface, and I duly paid you for escorting me. That is right. We did escort him, so we get some moolah. Unvarnished disapproval, his arms folded across his chest, his foot tapping impatiently. I have a job that would be perfect for someone like you, naturally. I will play generously. Okay, so what does this job involve? You shall be my bodyguard. You see, I have good reason to return to my mansion here in Canabras. I still have, well, it doesn't matter, it's none of your business. My mansion is a breathtaking building, a large garden, the wealthiest part of the city. Even before the demons attacked, every thief and fraudster in the city had tried to get inside. One way or another, I shudder to imagine the state it is now. I would as well. I would as well. Stay there, phone. Okay. Don't want to vibrate. I have little hope that my guards were able to hold the mansion during the attack, and I expect that servants fled when they saw the demons. Only Abadar knows what's happened there since. The god of cities, law, merchants, and wealth, also called the god of walls and ditches in the Eastern Dragon Empires, is known to be a patient deity. Maintaining a strong neutral stance in his actions, he strives to expand civilization and order among the peoples of Galorian. Okay. Therefore, I would ask you to meet me in my master's guard me there until I complete my business. Okay. I already asked the local paladins for help, but they're no desire to set foot outside the tavern. Damn cowards and traitors. It's what they are. Also, please do take Camellia with you. I trust the girl more than the rest of your gang. She is of noble birth. Deal. Marvelous, most excellent. I'll proceed to my mansion at once and wait for you there. Meanwhile, you needn't worry. I know the city like the back of my hand, but do hurry unless you want me to lower your reward. Okay? Don't think it actually lowers our reward. What will it be? Show me what you have, good sir. And you are the potion man. Okay. That'd be something great for us. You got backs. and a spicy pastry. Okay. Who are you? Guillermo Hawks, vampire. Okay. Are you really a vampire? No. Okay. How'd you end up in the Crusader City? Or did anyone end up here? How did you or them? The world is big, there isn't a place for everyone. Any news in the city? There are demons everywhere, and you showed up. Anywhere worth going to? You mean a place that normally people usually stay well away from? There are plenty, like the Patixian wine cellar. The attack's origins lie with brigands from their neighbor to the north. Bravoy, who sought sanctuary amid the forests of the River Kingdoms, the band of vicious thieves made a hideout in a riverside hamlet known as Pitax. As they visited there year after year, their ill-gotten gold slowly transformed Pitax into something considerably larger than a simple, sleepy fishing village. Eventually, the bandits settled in Pitax permanently, building walls around the village, hiring sellswords to help defend against their enemies, and crowning themselves king of the newfound realm. With this, Pitax became a permanent fixture of the River Kingdoms, able to survive and thrive for nearly 4 centuries, while others around it withered and decayed. Okay. Once belonged to Pitaxian trading house, then King Iravetti came to power in Pitax, and property started changing hands. And after the seller's shop system was found in a ditch, not all of them mined just his head. The marrying gangsters had taken possession of the place. Once their rising power poised to unite its neighbors under its banners, Numeria's leadership is falling into decay. Here, savagery and science exist side by side. Amid the wreckage of a crashed starship from a distant world, Necromancers? No. It says Techromancers from across Galorian flock to research and exploit the technological wonders found within the otherworldly ruins. Meanwhile, tribes of primitive barbarians cling to an age-old tradition and eschew technology in favor of their own raw skill and martial prowess. This is a nation where, under the auspices of technological advancement and the betterment of civilization, a select few rule a subjugated nation as despots and tyrants, placing their own power and continued reign above the well-being of their citizens. Okay. They wanted to sell something stronger than wine on the street, and they ended up on the gallows. Then King Iravetti's number was up, so now the store stands empty and unclaimed. People say that a headless ghost wanders the place at night, moaning ghoulishly. Oh. Okay. And one not for talking, and he says nothing. Okay. Sure enough. Young man in a worn traveling clothes and simple wooden symbol of Aristil, also known as Old Deadeye and the Stag God, is one of the oldest human gods still worshipped in the Inner Sea region, and is concerned with family, farming, hunting, and trade. During the Age of Creation, Aristil was among the gods who battled... was that Rovagug? When he sought to destroy Galorian, and who were eventually able to contain him in the dead vault at the planet's core. His religion dates back to before the Age of Darkness, when small farming communities and hunter-gatherers prayed to him for bountiful harvests and successful hunts. Legends claim that it was Old Deadeye himself who crafted the first bow and gifted it to humans to overcome the challenges of the world. Even as the accomplishments of civilization mount, Aristil continues to embrace and represent the simpler pleasures life has to offer. Are you one of the Crusaders? Thank you for defending those whose talents lie off the battlefield. I'm Jurna, servant of Aristil. Pleased to meet you. What are you doing? I only took my holy orders recently, so my God has only bestowed a little of his power upon me as yet. I'm sorry to say that the number of wounded fighters in this tavern is far beyond my power to heal. There's a reason people say, have faith in the gods, but look to yourself first. I may not be able to help the wounded with magic, but I can at least cut up bandages. Are you from around here? I was just passing through Canabras. I was sailing down that old man of ours, the great Celian River, to a village by the name of Chili Creek. I happened to land in the city on the eve of the festival, and I'm ashamed to say I decided to stay for a day to enjoy myself. But I ended up staying in the city longer than I had bargained for. Chili Creek, where is that? It's a small fishing village. It's not even marked on some maps. People do live there. What they don't have is a priest. They have no one to heal their wounds, no one to offer prayers for a good catch, and no one to give their dead a dignified burial. And the world wound is a stone's throw away, so I'd be setting sail for Chili Creek to serve my God and my people. Okay? Once we've held Canabras, I'll be going there. If by the grace of God, or grace of the good gods, we will all survive this, you should come and visit me sometime. You'll find a village here on the bank of the river. Aren't you a young, experienced cleric afraid to go to the border of the world wound? I won't lie, I'm afraid, but what can I do? Those villagers are simple people. Every day of their short lives is spent doing hard, honest work. It's exactly the kind of life I want. Something simple but meaningful. If I had centuries ahead of me, like elves do, I might have spared some 50 years or so to travel around the world. Okay. Use the help of a cleric. Air still knows I'll be glad to help you, but it's no use. My spells are depleted and I have no training in potions or scrolls. This rope I'm coming for bandages is the second to last one. Okay. Let's go. For Autumn Haze. A tall, fragile-looking elf sits in front of you, eyes closed. He is pale as a ghost, his arms wrapped in a blood-stained bandage. You spot other bandages on his body under his clothes, but even in such a miserable state, he managed to keep calm. Raising eyebrows to meet yours, he firmly says, I am Forn Autumn Haze, at your service. You need help? Do not trouble yourself on my behalf. A local healer tended to me. Besides, I come from a resilient, hardy people. My body will endure both the wounds and the poison delivered through them. Who are you? My name is Forn Autumn Haze. I've come here from Kenonin, homeland of the elven race on Galorian. Kenonin was also completely evacuated by the elves just before the fall of Starstone. We don't know about Starstone. They only recently, by elven standards, returned to Galorian to reclaim their ancient homeland and have become an isolationalist realm, allowing few non-elven visitors in their midst to the capital, Idera. As I am a hunter, and all minions of evil are my quarry. I won't say more than that. If you don't mind, we are strangers and of different race and culture. I might not tell you more than is necessary. Who wounded you? A sinner and accomplice team is angry. Where I am hunting in this hospitable place. I'm Prometheus. You can trust me. I might be able to help you. It would be impolite to refuse such a direct, friendly offer. Who is your quarry here in Mendev? I was hunting a fugitive, a Duskarite by the name of Kalessa. It pains me to admit that there are heinous malefactors such as her among my noble kind. I managed to catch up with her in Canabras and I wounded her. Then demons appeared and the city was engulfed in flames. I was injured in the battle and that ensued, and she couldn't free her soul from its service to her dark masters. Sorry for your misfortune. I hope things will turn out differently next time. No need for pity. Our ancient kind is blessed with great longevity. We gain a deeper understanding of the world than other races, and we learn our lessons better than anyone. That goes for learning from our mistakes as well. I survive, which means I will be more prepared next time. I wish to aid you in your hunt. Okay. I'm hoping I can ask him about this. Here we go. Nope, failed. We failed. Failed again. Succeeded. Here we go. Her skin is dark. Her hair preternaturally white. Her red eyes can see perfectly in the dark, which to my dismay I've come to know from experience. But bright light causes her kind pain. I used an alchemical powder that exploded in a dazzling flash. She cried out as if I had stabbed her. Okay. Good to know more about you. Not who I am, why I made it here. Okay, tell me about yourself. Other peoples tend to believe that identity is the sum of a person's actions and the events that happen to them. For them, I am one of a long line of warriors from Knonen who, since his youth, has dedicated himself to hunting evil and injustice. For them, I am a successful and capable huntsman who has tracked down and slain a great many monsters. But I am an elf, and for me, my identity has a different meaning. It is shaped by the place where I was born, that I love so deeply. I am shaped by what I find beautiful and what makes my heart quicken. By the fears that come to me in the dead of night, by the things I find so intolerable that at the sight of them, my very core darkness fills with poison. Thus, to tell you who I am, I would require many days, much candor. Okay? You choose to be a hunter of evil. I am the son of a noble and proud nation. We are sometimes criticized for our arrogance, but no one dares doubt our honor. When a crime is committed, we cannot turn a blind eye. If we were to abandon our obligation to oppose evil, if we were to surrender this obligation to other races, we would also relinquish our preeminence. Okay. That miscreant unfortunately is of the Elven Wraith, and the blood shade of Crononis. She swore herself to the faith of Desgari and set out on a criminal path in his name. Darkness awarded her with great powers and repulsive disfigurement, so she could no longer hide her sins. Kaelasa fled here to be closer to her master, and I followed her. Okay, I have no more questions. Not sure if I can get this. Yes, perception check. His shadow passes over Thorn's eyes for a single instant, and his face is just as impassive as before. The Drow? Unlikely. It is more plausible that our dark service has left a brand similar to the one that twisted the entire cursed Drow race. A coincidence? I would think. Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's a tiefling. Okay.
Hey, Chief. Hey, Dreamboat, come over here. I want to talk to you about something. Something really important.
Quit bothering the decent people in here, Woljif, or I'll knock your teeth out!
What's it to you, Delvin Dum-Dum? You were told to guard me, and I'm not stopping you. But no one told me I had to shut my trap.
So who are you?
Woljif. Woljif Jefto. I deal in useful things. I can get you whatever you want. Anything. But there's just one problem. I'll lay it out for you. Simple job, 30 minutes tops. We go someplace, talk to someone, and in return, whatever you want, I'll get it for you. Some extra rations? No problem. Armor, weapons, scrolls, you name it. It's as good as yours. If you need my help with something, whistle and I'll be there. I'm handy enough with knives too, and even my magic know-how isn't too shabby.
What a load of guff! If you were good at magic, you wouldn't be stuck in here now, would you?
Bro.
Don't you listen to him, Chief. He'd find fault with the Queen herself. I'll be useful to have in battle, and I'll sell whatever you want at a reasonable price. It's your lucky day. You won't meet another gem like me in Canabras.
Why are you in chains?
Does it really matter? Don't get hung up on the past, Chief. Don't look to the future. Live in the here and now.
He was caught thieving.
Get me out of here and I'll tell you. And don't worry, it's not contagious.
Can't help you while you're chained up here. How can I free
That's
you?
easy. You know Irabeth? Feisty looking gal, always wears armor. You can't miss her. She's the meanest fighter in the whole city. When you see her, put in a good word for me, will ya? Tell her there's this guy Woljif locked up for no good reason in the Defender's Heart. Well, for the follies of his youth. And he really wants to get out on bail so he can keep up his good behavior and make a contribution to society. Got that? Will you do it?
Alright, I'll talk to her.
I knew I could count on you. Knew it the moment I laid eyes on you.
Talk later. Okay. Who are you? Vasily Rathamus, rector of the local temple of Adadar, or Abadar. The temple is gone though, and if I was to sneeze here much longer, the city will be as lost as well. The boy with you. This one, Kaido the shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy and his faith is strong. He serves Aristil though, but there's still something you can learn from an old servant of Abadar. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. What can I expect? So scrolls are a lot of them, something for every emergency. Second, while you're here in the tavern, I can read one for you, guaranteed. No surprises, but you better not go to the city without a cleric. Okay. Land. Ooh. So Anevia. Oh hey, how would they pass me up? Now I can run, jump, or chance a jig if I feel like it. Are there any places here I should pay attention to? There are a couple of spots I wanted to check out, but I didn't have the time. If there really is a den of cultists out there, it would be good if you could swoop in there and bust some heads. You don't even need a search warrant. First one is the Silken Thread. It's a fun little tailor shop that doesn't take any orders and never buys any fabric. They always seem so busy. Busy with something now, right? But sewing ain't it. Second one is the alchemy shop, Topaz Solutions, and they trade in everything, not just healing potions. Judging by the ingredients they've been buying on the black market, there's something fishy about the alchemical rituals going down in that place. Okay? Tell me about yourself. Happy to, but there's kind of nothing to tell. What's so interesting? Where are you from? Nowhere. I was blown in by the wind and found in the cabbage patch. Sorry, that's an old habit of mine. I don't like blabbering about my past, but you saved my skin, so I guess I kind of owe it to you. I'm from Nidal. Okay, one of the oldest surviving countries in Astavan. Okay. Having been founded during the uncounted years of the Age of Darkness, even though it is now beholden to the neighboring infernal realm of Cheliax, it retains significant autonomy to pursue its own shadowy goals. I wouldn't wish my homeland on my worst enemy. You have heard of the place, I'm sure, ruled by monsters that aren't alive nor dead, and the official religion is the cult of Zan Kuthan. The deity of Zan Kuthan, also known as the Midnight Lord, the Dark Prince, and the Prince of Pain. God of darkness, envy, loss, and pain, possesses one of the most twisted and evil minds in the great beyond. His position as a god of pain is well earned, and he has been the root of countless tortures, murders, and worse throughout time. He was once a benevolent demigod named Dubra, but was corrupted when he traveled to the far dark places between the planes and returned in his current form. His half-sister, Shaylin, still holds out hope that she can redeem him, though the Lord of Shadows shows no signs of remorse or compassion. I grew up in a slum like a weed between the cobblestones. I did not have a dad, but I have lots of aunts and uncles, my mom's cronies. No prize for guessing the kind of business she was involved in. They gave me a set of lockpicks as soon as I could hold a spoon, and while the other kids were picking their noses, I was picking pockets. Okay, when I was 12, the monks of the Silent Shroud came for us. Creepy guys with their mouths sewn shut. They're the guards in Nisroch. Mom gave me to her friends, and we hid in the secret temple of Desna. Desna, known as the Great Dreamer, Lady Luck, and Mother Moon, goddess of dreams, luck, stars, and travelers, among the most ancient of deities. While her peers burdened themselves with the task of creating Galorian, she spent her time building the heavens. She knew that there would be plenty of time for her and her followers to explore the many wonders of the world later. She has changed little since those days, and she and her followers delight in exploring the world. Never saw my mom again after that. Or hiding in the temple. I lay low in the temple for the next few years, got my head down, washed floors, fetched water, listened to sermons. Funny thing, after a while I started liking Desna's teachings. As soon as I was old enough, I was out of there. I left Nidal and got as far away as I could. Quite a ragtag group here. Nobles, street dogs. You got that right? One of the best for you. What do you do if the knights and nobles fail to save the world? The lost lives are our only hope. What do you mean, Erebeth? Flown around Timon a while back, doing this and that. Desert temples sometimes give me odd jobs, you know, sometimes they needed people with skills like mine. On the surface it was fine, I guess. After Nidal, the freedom of the river kingdoms, I've long been a haven for inland pirates, anarchists, exiles, anyone who cannot seem to make it in a more civilized nation. The kingdoms are by no means a unified nation, but rather a consistently shifting group of city-states and fiefdoms, each at war with the others, both to gain more power and prevent their own demise. The river kingdoms are located in the marshy lowlands of the Sullen River Basin, where its three branches combined in the south in their journey to the south of the Inner Sea. There are a few roads throughout the land, and the branching web of the Sullen and its tributaries provide the primary means of transportation. Okay. The freedom of River Kingdom should have seemed like heaven. My chance to sit back and enjoy life, but I wasn't happy. There wasn't just any joy. I was all alone. No one cared about me, and I didn't care about anyone either. I struggled to find a reason to drag myself out of bed every morning, tying a stone around my neck and jumping in the nearest river. One day I was hired to follow some fellows who local authorities suspected were Rasmurian spies. The realm known as Rosmerian was once just another turbulent Violet River Kingdom, the Archduchy of Malkat, where leadership changed so often as the years. This ended in 4661 when the land was conquered by Aasimar, a tyrant claimed to have ascended to godhood. Okay. I was stupid, I made a rookie mistake and they caught me. It's like my body had already decided to do what my mind had been trying to do, to finally put me out of my misery. Get someone else to kill me since I didn't have the guts to do it myself. They grabbed me, I thought they'd gut me on the spot, but instead they hog-tied me and dragged me off. And just like an animal going to the slaughter, my only thought was, let's get this over with. They brought me to their stinking cave, threw me in their altar, and I realized who it was. Kuthyites from Nidal. Okay. Connected to their god. They tracked me down after all those years, but I didn't care anymore. Wouldn't even have cared if they'd eaten me or whatever. They gotta go sometime, right? I was laying there staring at those knives pointed at me when fate rolled the dice and I hit the jackpot. Erebeth. She was storming into the cave. Okay. Picture I'm landing on an altar with all these knife-wielding maniacs around me and suddenly Erebeth storms in. I thought it was Imade herself. Fierce in her shining armor with her gleaming sword raised. She made quick work with those scumbags, chopped them up just like that, and you didn't have time to blink. She untied me, and then she looked through the papers they had on the table, and she started swearing like sailors. So much for Imade. Iomade. You guys end up in a Canabras. After almost becoming a human sacrifice, I never wanted to leave Erebeth's side. That's the nose. I fell for her instantly, and I fell hard. My misery was gone, and when Erebeth showed me what it was in those papers, proof that the cultists had a nest in her home city, I offered to help without a second thought. Must have figured out I couldn't wait to get my revenge on the cultists, but I didn't give a damn about them. It was her. I'd go with her even on a crusade in the jaws of a dragon. Okay. But I took to life in Canabras like a duck to water. I used to be an outcast wherever I went, but half the crusaders are the same. After all, who'd volunteer to tangle with demons in the edge of the abyss? You gotta be either goody two-shoes with too much honor and free time, or a misfit with no life out in the normal world with normal people. People come here to run away from their debts, their past, themselves. Okay. What is it like living with Erebeth? It's like living. Without her, I wouldn't be. Seriously, if I were alone, I'd definitely be gone by now. Okay. Sure, sometimes we argue, we can't deny that, but sometimes bang our fists on the table and yell so loud that the wall shakes. But that's all about order business. But at home, we'll give you an example. I've kind of always wanted to move out of the broom closet we call a house and into something cozier. It ain't like they take a value of poverty at the Eagle Watch, but every month somehow most of our summer money is spent on Crusader business. I sure get mad about it, but that's why I love her so much. Okay. Thank you for your answers. Tell me about the responsibility. Don't fish I'm not even lying, I just hang around. Sure you want to know the details? Catching traitors and spies and cultists no walk in the park. It's a delicate job. You can't always do it all within the letter of the law. But if we surprise some suspicious blighter with an official search, everyone will know about it before long, starting with their cronies. And again, sneaking into people's homes at night ain't exactly legal. Crusaders can't be doing stuff like that, can they? Well, I'm not exactly a knight. Okay. Well, 100% makes sense. Here for a chat. Been waiting for you to come and see what strange beast you've taken in your party. I'd like to know more about you. Weak guess. Your first question is, can you wear a hat with one horn? Am I right? You speak common much better than the rest of your tribe? Funnily enough, common isn't all that common underground, but your observation is correct. I used to live on the surface with my parents for a while, and had a chance to learn a couple of things. Language and the fact that every peasant who sees my skinny mug screams demon. Okay. I don't know if you're interested, but my mom wasn't from an underground tribe. She was a smuggler, the kind that used the dungeons of Canabras to secretly move and store goods. One time, two games couldn't agree on how to share a prime cut, got into a fight, and the winners threw the losers down the hole, dead and living alike. My dad went to check on if the corpses had anything useful on them, and he found a girl from the surface, barely clinging to life. An incredible feeling sparked between them, or maybe the girl just liked men with scales and a cat nose. That might be it. One way or another, he got her back on her feet, and he later even left his home caves. He left her smuggling behind, and they became an honest life together. That's the story of how the old land came to this world. The next chapter of ever, my family and I never stayed in one place for too long. We lived sometimes on the surface, sometimes underground. We couldn't find a place to call home. Living in the caves was hard on my mom. My dad's appearance raised too many questions, and Mendad. Okay. They were warred against the demons after all, and in the end, my parents decided to stop making each other miserable and separated. My father and I returned to our tribe. I think the peasants' screaming demon has something to do with it. Or maybe Dad couldn't stand life without rat tail soup. I couldn't roll out a possibility. Did you come with me so you can see the surface again? No, that wasn't it. I just don't want to have much patience for certain types of creatures, demons. I mean, they want to destroy Canabras. I'll be on the side of the people they're attacking. Land, you're my companion, and command should trust you. I'm counting on you to give me honest answers. Not excuses. You're right. I shouldn't have been so evasive. It is just that some things are hard to talk about. Okay? My birth hell take me turned out to be a great misfortune for my parents, all because I'm relatively healthy. And the best thing that could come from a marriage between a quid-dwelling mongrel and anyone from the surface. A healthy child with the right number of hands and feet, no apparent defects, no missing organs or other problems. They saw hope in me, so Bruce had more children. I thought it would somehow be alright. I could have 4 brothers. The firstborn 2 years after me and died 3 years later. He didn't have a nose, nothing even remotely resembling one. He could only breathe through his mouth. Mom and Dad were afraid to take their eyes off him for fear he'd choke and suffocate on something. But in the end, it was his weak heart that killed him. And there was another pregnancy and a birth. I pretended I was sleeping but snuck out of my bedroom, listened to the door. All those hours before exchange, never heard the newborn screaming. Mom boning, yes, the priest praying, and I dared to open the door a little and looked inside. The police stood there, very pale. One of them was holding something, a small object that fit in his palm. He asked, "Do you know what this is?" The other one said, "I think it's a head." Wow. You don't have to go on if it hurts you. Okay. It turned out that this time Mom was expecting triplets. The first of the babies was born in peace, and the other 2 didn't live long enough to draw their first breath. About 3 weeks later, my father took me to the caves. He didn't want to leave. I could see it in his face, but I think my mom and he decided it together. The curse my people have carried since the first crusade stood between them, not to mention the 4 dead babies. The old age was rapidly taking its toll on my father. After we returned to the cave, he only lived another 4 years. Okay? So if you're asking me why I decided to go up with you to the surface during the Crusaders, well, the answer is I've always wanted to. I was afraid to leave my tribe, but it always haunted me that I would die in a world where 4 Crusades could do nothing to stop the beast from the abyss, and the number of victims kept growing. I want to change that. Okay? If changing things is too much to ask, then at least get a little revenge. The ones who are behind the world wound owe me a great debt. The lives of 4 brothers, all my mother's tears, my father's broken heart, it's a lot. It's so much that killing a couple of demons won't do it for me. I want to do something real, and I'm ready to pay any price. Call it a personal crusade if you like. I used to think that things would be better if I'd never been born, but now I think I was born for this. It settles the score. Okay, why didn't you jump the Crusaders before? Couldn't you expand my tribe? I'm their best hunter. They'll have it much harder without me, but now that the demons have nearly destroyed Canabras and the caves almost collapsed in our heads, sitting and waiting it out just wasn't an option anymore. Anyway, I'm more useful up here than I am down there. Once the chief let me go, which means my debt to the tribe has been paid. I'd like to find your mother. No. I don't want to meet her, not because I feel any resentment. It's just that she's a half-elf. We barely got her first gray hair, and I'm a ramshackle old man. She's buried enough children. There's no need to make her witness the death of another one. I hope you'll understand. Okay. Very sorry, truly. And I'm very lucky I met someone who not only helped me choose the right path, but is happy to listen. Your parents loved and survived hardship, but that doesn't mean the same thing will happen to you. What if you find true love with someone who won't leave you no matter what? And break my beloved's heart when I die in their arms 5 years later? That's a fine thing to do to the person you loved. And again, there's a chance I'll inspire some tragic bard to write a tearful ballad. Thanks for sharing, Lan. Tell me your story. Oh, that's the same thing. Mongrels have short lifespans, but you don't look like you're getting old or dying. How old are you? I'm as old as I look. No surprise there, but remember Soul? He's 10 years older than me. I remember him back when he was a fearless warrior, and day by day I watched him turn into an old man. Him and my father. Okay. Happens very quickly. First you miss a shot because you don't see the target as clearly as you used to. You think it's because your eyes are tired. You tell yourself it'll get better tomorrow. Then you notice you're having trouble breathing. The climbing is harder than before. Then your fingers stop bending. You have to tie your sword to your hand. You can't even put on your greaves without help. When you're washing your face in a stream, sometimes you catch sight of a gray-haired, wrinkled old man you don't recognize. And this goes on until one day you come across a cave beast and you realize you can't outrun it. My dad kept diaries marking all the signs, and I saw it too the last year. I had to help him get out of bed, help him dress, remind him to eat. Sometimes he forgot my name. I told him that we should have stayed on the surface, and he joked that dodging a goddess was behavior unworthy of a crusader. He meant Aasimar. Okay. Let's talk about Windag. Tell me about your connection. I mean, where do I start? We grew up together, trained together. She was the chief's daughter. She was groomed to be the best all her life. Then I came along. We were rivals, but we dragged each other out of tight spots too. I've always been drawn to grand heroic gestures and sometimes idiotic ones, whereas Windu liked to roam unexplored patches, find new caves, and making maps. She wanted to be a great huntress, the one who'd make it through the shield maze, but it'd be better if she died. The death of a friend is painful, but watching a friend become a shadow of their former self is unbearable. She doesn't think she's a shadow of her former self. Of course, she thinks she did everything right, because the second she starts to doubt herself, she'll hide the face of truth. To admit that she's just a cannibal that demons use as a wish. She wants to get stronger and stronger, but for what? I'll never understand what drives her. Were you just friends, or were you more than that? Oh, you don't pull your punches, do you? There was a time where I asked myself the same question. Windag knew me better than anyone. She understood me better than anyone. She was my first woman, but we never loved each other. Maybe I could have grown to love her, but it always seemed like she never understood what love was. Maybe she just wasn't capable of those kinds of feelings. Ouch. Thanks, I found everything I wanted to know. I do want to know, can you wear a hat with your one horn? Sure can, but certain designs don't suit me well. Okay. I'll take that. Tell me about your people. Of course, we'd like to know. What's in it like living in the caves? Oh, imagine that there is an entire world. There's only a few hundred like you. There's not an inch of fertile ground anywhere. Nowhere to grow grain for bread, or cotton, or linen for cloth. Your neighbors are beasts who want to eat you, or parasites who want to infect you with their larvae and then eat you. And it's not all that bad, because you try to eat the most of the things that are trying to eat you. Sometimes at the risk of getting poisoned. Sometimes with almost no risk at all. In the worst years, there's not a single living thing anywhere to be found, predator or prey. That's when you eat mushroom soup. I'd say 3 times a day, but there was barely enough for once every 3 days. But life underground has its upsides, pun intended. There's no risk of losing the roof over your head. There's no bad weather, and not kind of earthquakes, of course. Really descends to the first Crusaders? More like demon spawn. Aren't we sad but true? Without the demons there would be no mongrels. This is the magic of the whirlwind that affected our ancestors and made their children the way we are. Like most in our tribe, Chief Soul fancies himself a descendant of the underground Crusaders. The ones our historic ancestors left to guard the caves. I don't know if that's true. That angel come from our caves for a reason. Maybe you remembered us. Okay. Those were evil and dangerous times. After the First Crusade, hundreds of Crusaders began having children, and the babies were born with fangs, horns, and warts that covered half their face. People didn't like the new look. The Inquisitors sure didn't, so our ancestors fled persecution and made a home for themselves down there under the ground. They probably intended to find a cure for their children and hoped to return in time, but it never happened. Instead, the Whirlwind's terrible legacy was passed down from generation to generation. Mongol parents can only guess what their children will look like. Each of us is born with a new mutation. Many mutations are fatal. Down in the caves, we usually don't congratulate the family for the birth of a child until they turn at least 3. Most don't even get a name before that. There's no point. Kind of reminiscent of the traditions they have in some places in China where you don't reasonably get your first, what is considered a first name in the Western world, until after you're like 1 or 2. It's just a practice they've kept for centuries. It's been that long since First Crusade. Why do you know so little about your ancestors? Our lives are much shorter than most uplanders up here, only a few generations past, and many still live who remember old Sartorius as it stood untouched by the demons. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. That's where the world wound is. It stood untouched by the demons. Queen Galfrey, for example. Queen Galfrey is the absolute monarch of the Crusader state of Mendev and the leader of the Mendevian Crusades. While today the name of the Crusader Queen is known throughout the Inner Sea region, it's easy to forget that Galfrey did not start her rule of Mendev as a paladin of Imade, but rather of Eredin. When the world wound opened and forever changed Mendev, Galfrey was still an untested young ruler who was forced to deal with the death of her god while simultaneously rallying her nation against the abysmal threat to the west. She rose to the challenge, however, and her leadership was instrumental over the next several years, not only in protecting Mendev from demonic invasions, but also in holding the border against the world wound. When the Church of Imade first organized her first Imade organized the First Crusade, it joined forces with Mendev to push back the demon armies. During these battles, Galfrey time and time again distinguished herself with a keen grasp of tactics and skill at leadership. But this inspiration went both ways. In the Church of Iomade, Galfrey found something to replace her lost faith. By the time the First Crusade ended with the apparent defeat of the demon armies, Galfrey had converted and become a worshipper of Iomade, and had completely retrained herself as one of the Inheritor's most devout paladins. Eager to retain such a valuable leader at the head of the Crusaders, the Church of Iomade twice purchased and presented to the Queen the rare and expensive Sun Orchid Elixir. Which extends mortal life beyond its usual span. Thanks to this boon, the Queen has lived and led the Crusaders for far more than a century. Wow, okay. But where we live, the Magus are getting old much earlier than humans, much faster, with more devastating consequences. Few live past 40, and fewer still live long enough to die of old age. Hunger, disease, and monsters from the deep are more effective killers than time. For us, the story of the First Crusade is a legend that happened generations ago. There are no living witnesses. We have a tale of the wise and great ancestors who left us to stand guard in the catacombs, but in reality I suspect they were desperate wrenchers who couldn't figure out how to dispel the demonic plague and who were abandoned by their own kind. You ever waited till night and day? That you can't see the sun in your caves? Every Mongol settlement has a big gong, which we treat like a relic. The gong keeper hits it twice a day to mark the beginning and the end. But this custom doesn't keep time very precisely. Every Mongol child has snuck up to the gong to strike it the wrong time at least once, out of pure mischief. Nothing can keep me away from it, not even the fact that I only have one ear, which means it would take double the punishment once I was caught. So sometimes the wrong strikes get mixed in with the right ones, and the tribe can find itself jumping up to greet the morning in the middle of the night. Do Mongol tribes fight each other? There were some skirmishes, and I've been forced to kill my kinfolk before too. Fights most often break out over food. We have laws in the caves, written and unwritten rules that we follow. We respect one another's right to live, but hunger can push a person over the edge. I never, you can count on that, stolen someone else's kill, but I can understand those of my kin who tried. I hear their kids begging for food, not being able to feed them is terrifying. You're a member of the Nithilhome tribe to call your people Mongols. Why is that? Because all of Galarian calls us that. I don't see the point of all this hemming and hawing over what we're called. Anyone who finds it offensive or takes issue with it can lead the charge against the name. No one's stopping that, but personally I'm not going to pick a fight over something as unimportant. Okay. Must be difficult. Must be different from life underground. Of course, as far as living conditions, the surface is definitely a better place to be. It's easier to get good food and water, not to mention build a house and even grow a few things. In older, well-established settlements, you don't have to deal with anything scarier than rats, maybe foxes stealing chickens. Okay. As for the kind of lives you have, I heard a story about demon worshippers abducting a whole family and sacrificing them one by one while others watched. But there were some brave Crusader knights nearby, and they killed the villains and saved everyone. I heard another story. A young blacksmith lost his arm in a fire, couldn't work to feed his wife and baby. They tried their best and lived from hand to mouth, but they were still destitute. In the end, the desperate blacksmith robbed a traveler one night on the road, but there were some brave Crusader knights nearby, and they caught the robber and threw him in prison. Not long after, his wife smothered their baby and hanged herself. Wow, okay. This is getting dark. Up here, the same person can proudly say he's protecting the innocent from demons and look the other way, while the same innocent starves just because they were born to a poor family. Galfrey prolongs her life with sun orchid elixirs that cost enough to feed an entire city. Back in our case, everyone is equally poor, and if one person starves, the whole tribe starves. We don't abandon our own in times of trouble. That's the power of a tribe. The laws of the surface are made so that some get everything and others get nothing. I might just be a naive fool from the case, but I don't understand how it's possible. Okay. I would say this is true. We're in a struggle for our very survival. And right now, the only thing that matters is survival. If you think of the world ruin hasn't happened, the surface would have already changed for the better. I'm not so sure. I'm not even sure my kinfolk will find their way to inventing their own aristocracy. If they ever got their hands on anything valuable enough to divide unfairly. But that's the point of being prince of all caves, holes, and gorges. If your only throne is a boulder and your only crown is made of rat skulls. Do you prepare to risk your life to do something meaningful? What do you mean? Invent a new salad and have it named after me. Truth be told, I don't know. It would be much easier if all I wanted was to kill demons and a few more demons and then more demons after that. Good honest rage and no needless brooding. I think I actually envy the warriors who can live like that. But I can't. If life's taught me anything, it's that there are no easy choices. Dying a glorious death isn't enough. Some heroes of the Crusades. Okay. In 4433, Eredin defeated a cult dedicated to the demon lord. Oh, okay, that's just Crusades in general. Some heroes of the Crusades did that and also saved entire settlements, erected the ward stones. Their actions kept the lands of Mendev safe for decades. That's what I want. For my dumb short life to have meant something. You think I have an exaggerated opinion of myself? Some scaly fruit crawls out of the cave and wants to take control of the ward stones and flaunt Amadeus' banner. Any fuel could charge at the front lines of the demonic armies and die there, but what good will it do? I want something meaningful, you know? Even if I have to pay the highest price, especially if I have to pay it. There are plenty of worthier people who need to survive this war and tell everyone else what nutcases we were. Okay. So that is land. So we had a quest to go talk to this guy. Staunton Vane. The dwarf resembles an abandoned citadel whose one high crumbling walls is still holding fast, but whose empty lightless windows make it clear that all inside is dead. Oh, it's you. Good work back there in the great garrison. Named Staunton Vane. If you've heard rumors about me, his face, which looks like it's never Knowing anything as carefree as a smile. Just so you know, everything people say about me, it's true. You know, I need to talk to the elf who calls himself the storyteller. Do you know where I can find him? The storyteller? A strange old fellow, that one. He used to sit with me for hours asking about all sorts of things. He never offered judgment or comfort, he just listened. At first I wanted him and his questions as far away from me as possible, but later I realized that talking to him did ease my burden a little. I hope he's alive and well. He's completely blind and feeble too, so if he's alone listening, you probably know what that means. I do know one place he might be. Look for him in the Black Wing. It's a library here. I'll show you where it is on the map. I don't know what use a library is to a blind elf, but he loved the place. He would sit there all day and night. What do people say about you? They say I'm a traitor as bad as Irilu Vorlish, who was the one that opened the world wound. That I'm a disgrace, even among the ranks of the condemned. There's a military unit made up of petty criminals and conscripted as disposable soldiers and frontline fodder in the Mendevian Crusades. Okay. The Queen Galfrey should have never spared me, that I belong on the gallows. Why do you hate you so much? You really don't know? I'm the reason why the Crusade forces are holed up in a fortresses on the edge of the world wound instead of bringing the fight to the demons. We used to have a foothold in the wound, the mighty, unassailable city of Dresden. Okay. Or Dresden. Founded as a city fortress during the hubris of the First Mendevian Crusade, Dresden was overtaken by the demonic horrors of the world wound. It now stands as a demonic monument to the foolish naivety of those earlier crusaders. Okay. We used to have it until it fell, and all because of my stupidity, I gave the enemy our main citadel. I was tried, they wanted to execute me, and rightly so, but the queen intervened. She said that I should live and fight in order to undo what I had done. So that's how I lived, decade after decade, fighting in the condemned. As you can see, I have fixed nothing, and I have earned no one's forgiveness. Are you going to smite my face too? I wouldn't be surprised. You keep living and fighting with no hope of anything better, because that's what the queen ordered you to do. There's honor in that. You may be right, but you know, even stone and iron get worn down sometimes. Or over time. I do know what it's meant to live a regimented life, but I cannot rely on my discipline alone forever. I pray to Torag. Torag, also known as the Father of Creation, is a stoic and serious dwarven god of the forge, protection, and strategy who values honor, planning, and well-made steel. He is often a distant deity, lending magical powers to his clerics, believing his followers to make their own way through life, knowing that this will make them strong and determined. Okay? But he does not listen, that my body breaks before my conscience does. Wholesale because of you? How is that possible? What do you mean, how? If you don't trust the word of a condemned, go ask somebody else. Like my little brother Joran, and if you still don't believe it, what's it to me? If you're not about to ask me to recount the story of my disgrace for the 1,000th time, don't. We don't have any friends? I couldn't have survived this on if I was completely alone. Joran, my little brother, he keeps me going. He's never abandoned me. Everyone else shies away from me like they might catch what I've already got, or what I've got. Even fighters in the condemned console themselves by thinking, I got stripped of my rank, but at least I'm not stunned. Okay. Commander Tirablade, probably mispronouncing that, seems to be the only person in the whole army who remembers that I'm a soldier and not a drudge. She has no qualms about taking me into battle. She had some mud flung at her in the past, or so I hear, and that's why she tries to keep an open mind about people. It's no surprise that she's the only one to hold on to her sense of reason in this farce. So many years in condemned, sure you've played your penance? It's not up to me to decide. My life is in the queen's hands. The condemned isn't the worst part. All these years, I have prayed to Torag for forgiveness. Countless times, I've gone to his priests. Countless times, I've kneeled before his altar. If only the Father of Dwarvenkind would answer my prayers just once. Not to restore what I've lost, but to tell me that I am still one of his children, but it seems that he doesn't give a damn about me. What can I expect from mere mortals? Okay. If Torag has renounced you, perhaps you should turn to another deity. Serene, for example, teaches that everyone who repents sincerely should be forgiven. No, I couldn't. You cannot choose your god, just like you cannot choose your family, your race, or your homeland. If your father renounces you, you cannot just choose another father. It's the same story with Torag. Okay. We did get that mission. At least. We've talked to them. We've pretty much talked to everyone besides going up here. We talked to Land. We have this guy, and I do know there is a secret. The imposing young Orid is surrounded by a crowd of crusaders who is hanging on to every word. I hope this example clearly illustrates the difference between Jiska legionaries, okay? The Jitka Imperium was the first human kingdom to establish itself in the inner sea region after the centuries of darkness and devastation caused by Earthfall. Its citizens spoke a nearly forgotten language called Jiska, whose alphabet became the basis of the alphabets of the modern languages of Skald, Beresian, and Haldane. At its height, it dominated all the western Garund and also parts of southwestern Estevan. Raids of desert nomads and attacks by powerful outsiders around 3300 onward, and the lack of a strong eastern trade route led to the slow decline of Jitka. What's that? Oseron? Then a burgeoning, or maybe it is, yeah, it's burgeoning. Kingdom under control of the powerful pharaoh of forgotten plagues pushed westward. It overthrew the already weakened Jitka, and the Imperium was plunged into numerous succession wars around 2764, from which it was never again able to recover its former political, military, and economic glory. Because of this military and economic defeat, the important cultural, magical, and technological advancements of the Jitka Imperium were largely lost and forgotten. Okay. The difference between Jitka legionaries from the last war and the Crusaders. The perfection of form and spirit they were imbued with during creation turned them into parts of the well-balanced war machine, not a ragtag bunch of individuals. Okay. Now tell me why I'm supposed to be impressed by your reckless assaults where everyone is fighting for the ego and their right to beat their peers to a swift, pointless, heroic sacrifice. Huh. Looks like we got ourselves a student of warfare. That's what I would say. Were your words meant to recognize my achievements or trying to fight the way Mendivian Crusaders normally do? If those gists of yours or whatever had come for us, we'd have the guts for Garter. You think we'd never fought a mighty adversary before? I'd love to see you storm a 60-foot tall walking castle shaped like a gigantic elephant that carries siege fortification on its back. And I'll have you know that these fortifications were defended by Jiskin priest craftsmen armed with demon-bound war machines. They use the enemies you cannot defeat as mindless weapons. You should not argue with someone who happens to be the most authoritative research in the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. For more than 4,000 years, Absalom has been the city at the center of the world, and metropolis size showcases the greatest treasures on all Galorian. The city not only holds a key strategic position for both commercial and military endeavors in the region, but encompasses the site of the ascension of 4 deities and claims to have been founded by none other than the last Aslanti, the god Erodin. Okay. Woman looks at you and flashes me spy. Lecture's over. Do you esteemed listeners? You're wrong to treat the Crusaders with such disdain. Allow me to explain. Oh, debate. I would happy to prove that my current conflict cannot hold a candle to the last war of Jitka. Okay. Very well, the last war of Jitka was waged using a significantly greater number of troops. Both sides actively relied on reinforcements from allied planes, and their strategic plan was perfected through no fewer than 7 rounds of intensive design. None of the above applies to this war of yours. Okay. Compared to the Jitka, we are but stone clubbing wielding kobolds. I would like to conclude my thesis with a few words from the wise counsel of Dagon, an advisor to the Pharaoh of the Forgotten Plagues. I doubt you will comprehend the true genius of his statements, but here is it nonetheless. A gadfly sees the ox pays no heed to the gadfly, but crimson fever takes them both. I think we go knowledge world. The principles of war are always the same. Weapons, causes, and resources may change, but this reminds me of the quote from, what was it? Fallout, where he's like, war never changes. Succeeded. Indara's eyes suddenly display frustration as she hears the audience, clearly impressed by your argument, murmuring approval. There is logic in your words, I give you that, yes. The concept of war does not change, but the degree of sophistication and the methods that we use to destroy our foes. The woman stops realizing her words, no matter how ostentatious she makes them, no longer have the power to captivate the audience. Get wrecked. The scholar cannot deny there is a certain truth beneath your skeptical statements. History is a complex discipline rooted in a fact and evidentiary base that grows ever more meager the further its described period is from the present moment. It's true. Of course, if I were to argue in bad faith, the way Crusaders embellish their tales of slaying a single Brumarak by adding a dozen bailiffs, for example, I could win this debate, but I know both such things, and therefore I am forced to admit that your description is not entirely without merit. I'm sure you would be able to expound on your arguments in a longer discussion. Glad we both understand this limitation. It's always a pleasure to face a worthy opponent, even if the debate takes place in a grimy tavern. Perhaps especially because of that. This is a worthy blade. It will be of use not only for the strong, but also for the wise. The call... Wow, we got the Claw of Jitka. Okay. I knew we got something from her. I just don't know much about the weapon. Where I bid you farewell. For the end of the day, I was planning to observe how winged demons use pack tactics to drive their prey like herds of livestock. It's about time I got back to my research. Stay safe. Oh, what's up? Dimension door. Okay, let's look at this. It is a finesse wielding. No, yes, it is. Flaming enhancement finesse wielding. This is a +1 flaming short sword. Yes, please. It has piercing, so 1d6 +1 and enhancement +1 of a 1d6 fire. Ooh, buddy, give me that. Look at it. I am the Demon Slayer. That's funny. Okay. So here's Hylor. Greetings, I am Hylor, adventure captain of the Pathfinder Society. Okay. I'm the superior officer among Pathfinders in this region. So, the Pathfinder Society is a globe-spanning organization based in Epsilon. The membership consists primarily of Pathfinders, adventurers who travel throughout Golarion, usually inconspicuously, and explore, delve, and otherwise experience the lesser seen parts of the world. They send journals documenting their travels back to their adventure captains, who also assign them new missions and suggest new places to explore. The most exciting and illuminating of these journals are compiled in the Pathfinder Chronicles, an ongoing series of books that collect the history and mystery of Galorian for its membership and the general public. Okay, cool. Reading of Mendev. However, the society is running almost no operations here right now. Besides me, there are almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I've had to work alone without the support of the society, but I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries, and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. Tell me about your confrontation with the Spinner of Nightmares. It all began with the task of the Pathfinder Society. I arrived in Nerosian with my team to investigate the sudden death of a famous crusader, Baron Valor. We soon focused in on a small hospital for the wealthy, where Valor was being treated shortly before his death. It turned out that a gang of Baphomet cultists calling themselves the Labyrinth of Mind had gotten a foothold at the hospital. They were obsessed with twisting the minds of their victims and targeted fragile people too weak to resist. The hospital was filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks from the outside world, completely helpless. And when they returned, they were different, almost normal. But the moment they heard a certain phrase, something dark awoke in their mind, and they transformed into servants of Baphomet. Ready to lie, betray, or even kill, the Labyrinth of Mind was preparing to infiltrate all the elite circles in Middev, but Baron Valor stopped them. Okay. He was too loyal to his oath and too resistant to their spells. He fought for his freedom until the strain broke his heart. We opened and cleaned the city of Baphomet's pit of vipers. Their den was a cradle of sin and filth. They cast spells on each other, and their loathsome fantasies stepped real from the minds into the world. They dreamt of horrible and forbidden things, and they fought like mad. We burned the place to the ground and slaughtered everyone we could, but the leaders of the cult were able to flee, and they were set upon revenge. They abducted my daughter, Lori, who served under my command in the Pathfinder Society. They left me a note full of tart insults, mockery, and sneers. From that note, I learned the name of my enemy, the Spinner of Nightmares. A few months later, I confirmed that she was the leader of the Labyrinth of Mind. My hunt had begun. I would get Lori back at any cost. Know more about you. What exactly are you interested in? I am a common Pathfinder. There are many others like me. How did you end up here? We got an assignment for the Pathfinder Society, and then a demon worshiper named the Spinner of Nightmares. Okay, yeah, we kind of already know that. Tell me about your daughter. As a girl, Lori was substantial. We lost her mother early on. She was left to follow my example. I drifted with little idea on how to talk to a 10-year-old girl, but even with a questionable parenting, Lori managed to grow into a wonderful girl. Brave, smart, beautiful, and entirely unbearable. She always argued with me about everything. When Lori was 18 and told me she was going to be a Pathfinder, all I said was, alright. I knew that there was no use to try and talk her out of it. And she was a fine Pathfinder. I'll never forget the Spinner Nightmares for taking my girl away from me. Tell me about the Pathfinder Society. Where the world uncovers secrets, yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna save this. I think this is where you retrain. Okay, so that's retraining, and then you can get like custom characters, I think, from that guy. Hey there, during the march through the dungeon, we never got the chance to exchange proper greeting. It's high time I shake your hand. I'd like to know more about you. Of course, anything. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from? I'm a little bit from Geb, a little bit from Ketapesh, but mostly from the Knights of Imade. I was accepted and began my training at 14. I belonged to the ranks more than I belonged to any other place. Come to Mendev by a long road, haven't you? Very long one. A traveler is expected to have amusing stories. Unfortunately, I only have 3 stories of any interest or 3 tales. We'd like to save them for our next feast. Okay. Is your attitude... Was that a hint of reproach? Okay. Bacabras. And Quidara. The westernmost satrapy of the... Pedisha? Empire of Kalesh. Qadira is a kingdom with the power of the sprouting empire at its back. Qadira is Kalesh's doorway to the inner sea region and perhaps the most single viable piece of real estate on Galorian. Okay. And down in the dungeon, there were 2 murders waiting to be executed. The gallows are already built for them. The roads have been bought, but sometimes life takes a surprising turn. Suddenly, a paladin at Imade appears in the doorway and offers the murderers a deal. They go with her to fight some monsters. They live. They survive. That is. There's a big difference between imminent death and probable death. The glimmer of hope, wouldn't you say? So here we are traveling through the desert. Me and my friend and pieces of Serenade, along with little rat folk fellow that we asked for our help, and 2 cutthroats. We get to the rat folk village and saw their bodies laying around, all drained dry. We figured we have to fight vampires. That's how the little rat folk described the monsters who attacked their village. We went all brazen like. The sun was high and the vampires couldn't attack until dusk. We never got the chance to look around. Black Shadows, quick as wind, attacked us from all sides. Not vampires, but chupacabras. One of the lads were pulled from the gallows, got killed right away. The second one ran for his life. That left me, the rat folk, and Kyra. That was the name of the priestess, and we all steeled ourselves to fight for our lives. Just when we thought the end had come, with the chupacabras surrounding me like a pack of dogs around a bear, and our rat folk friend wounded and down in the teeth of the quickest one of those blasted monsters was clenched on Kyra's shoulder. Right then, when all hope was off, the other lad from the gallows suddenly comes running back. He kills the beast attacking Kyra. I'm sure you know what a turning point in a fight looks like. Well, that was it. A moment before we were lost, and a moment later, we had it back under control. The chupacabras dropped dead one by one. Little rat folk is reunited with his family. We're hiding. The priestess and I closed the eyes from that boy. Close the eyes of that boy from the gallows who saved us. It was a shame he didn't survive the fight. May the gods keep his soul. He could have died in disgrace to the gallows, but instead he died a hero. And I fancy the stunt earned him some points in his final judgment. Say so? What made you become a paladin of Imade? Oh. Had it not been for the mercy, Milos, that was his name, would be hanging from a noose, and me, Kyra, and the rat folk would all be dead in that village. Someone told me that a kind deed done by an unkind person is 100 times more precious. I would say so. That's a serious question, a good one. You should ask it of your companions. It's a long story to start with. 12 years ago, I was nothing like the person I am now. I roamed the streets of Solku with the other homeless orphans. Okay. Back then, Solku was a city of orphans, widows, and widowers. Gnolls decimated the city regularly. My parents were among their victims. People were heard about new deaths before they'd finished mourning their previous losses. One day, a group of knights from Iomade brought a glimmer of hope to the city, but while others saw them as saviors and protectors, I was busy pricing up their noble horses and their gleaming mithril armor. Okay. A thief lives one day at a time, that's what they say, and I was the type that would never thought past the next day. However, I was able to sneak into the knight's camp and steal one of their mithril helms, and I was right there when an gnoll attacked the helm's owner. Aasimar was her name, and dealt a blow to her unprotected head. And no, like all those others she'd feared fearlessly driven from the gates of Solku. The one blow was fatal, and who really was to blame for her death? An old attacker or the young thief named Sela? Even a seemingly small deed can have terrible consequences. I would say so. It's sure right 1,000 times over. I hate to say it, but I just didn't see it back then. If I had never gotten that lesson, my eyes would probably never been open. Who knows what would have happened to me if it wasn't for Aasimar and her bravery and her death. Maybe the world would know Sela as a bandit, not as a knight or protector of those in need. There's a saying I like to remember: people rarely find redemption on their own. Someone must show them the way. Okay. But you were asking what brought me to the ranks of Amadeus warriors. We all choose the paladin's path for our own reasons. Some are guided by nobility of spirit, some a desire to fight injustice. I became who I am through penance and debt, and a debt unpaid. The day Aasimar died protecting my city, I wanted to kill myself for the terrible guilt I felt, but then I realized it wouldn't make the world a better place. I decided instead to try to take her place. I become who she had been and protect the innocence that she no longer would be able to affect. What are the principles that paladins of Aasimar follow? I like to recite our code. It feels like I've said it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. There is strength in these words. I will learn the weight of my sword. Without my heart to guide it is worthless. My strength is not my sword, but in my heart. If I lose my sword, I have lost a tool. If I betray my heart, I have died. Will I have faith in the inheritor? I will channel her strength through my body. I will shine in her legion, and I will not tarnish her glory through base actions. I am the first into battle and the last to leave it. I will not be taken prisoner by my free will. I will not surrender to those under my command. I will never abandon a companion, though I will honor sacrifice freely given. Okay. Erebeth said your friend Jenna Oldori is missing. Erebeth is worried about our fires. I understand that I wanted to look for Jenna myself, but I didn't distract her. But since you're in this too, I could use some help. Jenna and I met in Canabras a few days ago and just hit it off. We went drinking together. We went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in a crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. Jenna's a good fighter, even if she's green. She couldn't have become an Aldori otherwise. I hope that means she's alright. What do you think of what's going on in Canabras? It's complete chaos. It's lucky we're here to handle it, right? Does the way I talk bother you? I know it can seem blasé, but many good people in our protector, Trendalev, died here in Canabras. Paladin of Aasimar is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. Okay. There's wisdom in the tradition of mourning, and one shouldn't reject them. All the more so if inappropriate merriment could offend others mourners. Many people loved ones perished in Canabras. Maybe you're right, I should keep myself in check more, better discipline, more self-control quality suited to Paladin. Is fighting demons all you want, or are you looking for something more? How about covering myself in glory and becoming the hero of 100 ballads? Okay. Most I criticizing my brothers in arms, but the Eagle Watch and the other orders are focused on just one aim, the war against the world wound. Why they can sometimes overlook smaller things, ordinary misfortunes. Let's say so. Okay, thanks for speaking to me. We are done with lore. Wow, 2 hours of talking. That's if you wanted to read that. Any success? How is the city? There's a tiefling chained up in the defender's heart. What can you tell me about him? Oh. Wuljif is a petty thief from a gang of tieflings operating in Canabras. That's what we call them in these parts. They tried to rob a vendor of magical items. Fortunately, we apprehended one of them. Okay. We had nowhere else to keep him, but it's hardly a prison. He's been begging for days to let him go free. He's already asked you to put in a good word. Okay. What is our main objective? Heard about the demon said they're going to desecrate the ward stone, blow up the whole barrier around the world wound. Okay, that would be bad. Even worse than a disaster of the Second Crusade. Not only Canabras, but every city within the Wardstone will be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that no matter what. We will retake it, even destroy it if we must. Wow. Even destroy it. We can't allow that no matter what. Okay, what are the Wardstones exactly? Their greatest treasure are the shield given to us by Iomade herself. Okay, and placed in Canabras and other Mendevian cities and fortresses by her herald. Okay. Chain of Warstones falls a protective barrier. We kind of already know about that. Tell me about a few personal. Where are you from? I was born in Canabras. Grew up on a farm just outside of it. Way back home lay at the end of the long wait and riding road. Okay. How'd you become a paladin? Because she like glows when she's a paladin. I don't much like to remember, believe it or not, the story of how I became a paladin is also how I failed to become a knight. My parents were crusaders, may their souls stand together in Iobade's celestial army. When I was born, they retired from the war and started preparing me to continue their legacy, but my father was an orc. He'd be pressed to find a calmer, wiser, more pious servant of the goddess than he. But still, all his life, he was dogged by sideways looks and whispers. Okay. When I grew older and it was time for me to serve, I decided anywhere but Canabras. That was where my father had served loyalty, and his only reward had been injustice. Besides, the witch hunters led by the honorable prelate Holren. We're gonna deal with this. This guy's a douche. Mendevian witch hunts. Okay. During the First Crusade, holy warriors streamed into Mendev, where they encountered Sokorians practicing a unique druid faith. The Crusaders mistook the warden idols and rustic rituals for evidence of demonic influence. Groups of witch hunters emerged from disorganized chaos of the First Crusade. These witch hunters were often self-styled, their tactics a little more than brutal trial and error. The least bit of evidence could mark a target for investigation, a clubbed foot, a thick accent, or even a suspicious absence of abnormalities. The witch hunter groups gained a reputation for being cruel and arbitrary, although these weren't always deserved. Demons ranged freely across the world wound and often spilled into Mendev. Demonic possession did happen, though not as often as the witch hunters claimed. Genuine witch hunters used divination magic and cautious investigation to draw out and destroy fiends, but were rare compared to the zealous inquisitors who burned innocents at the stake. With the advent of the Fourth Crusade, the authorities took strong measures to end the bloody witch hunts of Mendev. Since then, the frequency of hunts has dropped considerably. Okay. Who knows what they have done to a strange girl with green skin? Instead, I went to the land for more, but I was young and foolish. I chose Lastwell of all places. You can imagine how well I was accepted in a country that's been battling the orcs of Belkzen since its foundation. Okay. There may like me there, but we were all treated as second-class citizens to the locals. My green skin was worse than leper scabs. Even my brothers in faith kept their distance. I took my vows, and the goddess granted me the powers of a paladin. But even then, not a single order would set me into the ranks. I spent another 6 months knocking doors before I realized simple truth. I serve Iomade, not these people. I don't have to prostrate myself before them, so I left. As a paladin, but not a knight. You must stick out like a sore thumb no matter where you go, right? You know many people envy Aasimars. This is true, but most of the ones I've known found their celestial heritage a burden. I find it hard to imagine what unasked for adoration must be like, but I'm sure it doesn't make life any easier. You come to join Knight of the Order. I left last while when traveling. The goddess guided me in my path, led me where atrocities were happening. I found I often fought in exchange for gold, but never for unworthy aims, of course. I wandered the River Kings for a few years, killing monsters and tracking down criminals. Sometimes I thought I was just wasting time, that my true place was in Canabras. But I pushed those thoughts away. I didn't even want to think about going back, but in the end, divine providence had brought me back to my senses. It happened in Timon. I was tracking a gain of bandits, which my employer suspected was a cover for Aasimar spies. I managed to find their lair, but inside I found something far more dangerous than spies, an unholy temple. When I broke in there, the cultists were about to sacrifice someone, the person who was destined to become my wife, Anivia. That's another story. After I cut down the cultists, I examined their papers and wouldn't believe my eyes. A network of evil cults had spread all throughout Astavan, including Mendav. Worse, the documents clearly show that their allies, the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth, had infested my native Canabras. And we were even among the ranks of the Paladins. After that, denying my homecoming would be a tantamount to desertion. Okay. Yehurudu Canabras couldn't trust anyone. The papers indicated the Paladins had infiltrated everything. Luckily, I had some experience in investigation. My beloved, the half-orc, smiles warmly. She knew her way around working locks, tailing people, and trading information within the city's bottom feeders. Soon we defeated, alas, not the whole Hydra, but a few of its heads. You know who turned out to be the leader of the cultists? Commander of the Eagle Watch. Can you imagine? While Prelate Holrun was chasing witches through the city, the enemy had infiltrated the very order responsible for internal security. The scandal reached the ears of the Queen. At first, she planned to disband the order in disgrace, but then she offered its command to me and put salvation in my hands. Of course, there was one small catch. I wasn't a knight, but I was made commander just the same, skipping the usual progression through the ranks. Can't imagine the followers of Zon Kuthrun in alliance with demon worshippers. Shouldn't they hate each other? They should, but Baphomet's minions are masters of deception. They manipulate the butchers as eagerly as Iomede's knights. The cultists from the unholy temple didn't know the true face of their associates. The people tolerate it. I keep seeing that some sideways looks and scowls here in the family of familiar whispers. Okay, tell me about Anivia. Yeah. We kind of know that. We're a dead weight. People who weren't committed. We organized ways to transmit message orders safely. We introduced reliable ciphers. We found tested allies around the city, from crusaders' orders to street beggars. Okay. On the contrary, if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be a headquarters at Defender's Heart. The cultists would have served up the city on a platter of the demons. That's true. It's a good way we achieve something. Okay. Go outside.
Let's see what we can do.
Isn't there one more person to talk to out here? Isn't that guy's brother out here? There he is. New face to see, picked a good time to come to Canabris. Okay, show me your wares first. Okay. Oh. It's hide armor. It's medium armor. 4? No. That's 5. So what's that's 4. What is the difference between these? Armor check penalty is 4. Same, right? Ooh. That's 10,000. Jeez. Oven curve and blade is exotic, that's right. I'll need that in the future, so. Okay, so let's talk to him. Not everyone, but I make it my business to other people who might need my services. Okay. Aasimar all I come around here, apart from framing the prior of the Temple of Desna. Spiritual fellow, but a bit woolly headed, and there's also Count something or another, some muckety muck, and not the type to visit a smithy in person. You Staunton Bane's brother? Yep. Where he goes, I go. That's always how we've done it, even before the ruin ruined. Okay. How was Staunton to blame for the fall of Dresden? Those service many times. We'll tell you it one more time. Will kill me. It seemed like victory was ours in the taking, and the demon invasion was simply in the end. The population of old Sarkois was thoroughly diminished. Many of them hope to see their hard fighting repaid. Small plot of unclaimed land. Okay. The city was, you can't even imagine. It was built by the finest engineer from the Five Kings Mountains. Queen Galfrey spared no expense. Dresden was meant to be the capital of the Crusade movement, a monument to its glory and a beacon of hope for all Galorian. Heroes were drawn there to seek fame and glory, and they came from all over. Taldor, Garund, Yanchi. I couldn't list them all. A relic known as the Sword of Valor was kept there. The greatest crusade relic, the Sword of Valor, is a banner once carried to battle by Aasimar herself. It is both a symbol and a powerful artifact which emits an aura that blocks demon powers. However, the banner only works this way in righteous hands. Hidden from the eyes of believers, it loses its properties. Okay. Sword of Valor was kept there. The banner that had been carried into battle by Aasimar herself back when she was still human. That banner protected the city and kept the demons from teleporting inside its walls. As long as the banner was in place, Dresden was invincible, so we thought. Then the war wound suddenly expanded, the demons launched a new onslaught, and folks started saying it was time to declare the Second Crusade. Dresden was unassailable until one young officer was tempted by a beautiful woman. She convinced him that the banner shouldn't be hanging in the city, that its rightful place was on the battlefield. He whispered honeyed words about glory and valor and convinced him that he could be a hero as great as Aasimar herself. And the poor fool believed her. He rounded up some of his hot-headed friends and carried the banner outside the city gates on an unauthorized foray. The demons slaughtered them within seconds, but for some reason the courageous ringleader was spared. A whole army was teleported into Dresden. It was a bloodbath. You can guess that officer was Staunton Bane. The woman turned out to be a demon. Not just any demon, it was Wendigo herself. Okay. Give us a lot of grief here in Canabras too. Just don't ask me what I was doing while my brother was off having trysts with that beast, and why I didn't save him from his own stupidity. You could have guessed it would end like this. I failed my brother, that's the truth. I blame myself every day looking at his plight, so that's the story. Why do you have a forge here in the tavern yard? Wherever I am, that's where my forge is. A true master of any craft will always find the tools they need. I miss my forge of work. Okay. Show radiance to Joran. Do you recognize the sword? I recognize it. Of course I do. I made this with my own hands. There's my brand. See? Dwarf carefully takes the sword in his hands, gazing at it like a doting father. Oh, Yaniel, things have been tough without you, but at least we've still got your sword. That's something. In battle, ordinary swords get blunted, they break, but sometimes a weapon can preserve. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm no authority on these things, but something like an echo of the deeds done with that weapon, or more like the reflection of the wielder's soul. I don't know. I will say one thing, take care of that sword. Daniel may no longer be with us, but the demons will still remember why they need to turn tail and run when they see radiance. Ouch, the scabbard's all worn. We can't be having a fine sword like this being carried around in this tatty thing. I'll make you a new one if you like. If the city stands strong and we both survive, come see me again and I'll have it ready. No charge. Okay. Okay. So after 2 hours of lore, to the basement we go.
Well, Chief, what do you got for me?
I talked to Irabeth and I've decided to make you part of my troop. We'll see how it goes.
You must be a smooth talker. Come on, Delvin. Get these bracelets of yours off me. I'm going free.
You're sure to regret this. This tiefling will fleece you for everything you've got. Mark my words.
Hey, it happens.
You're a bitter little man, Delvin. Petty and mean. You can't even be happy for me, can you? I pity you. I'll leave you alone with your sad little soul. So long. And now, Chief, straight down to business. You see, I'm one of those guys that people around here call thieflings. We just call ourselves the family. After we knocked over that shop and I got stuck here in the Defender's Heart, a little bird told me that big sister Charisme wanted to see me. That she had some questions to ask me. You following?
Think you stole something?
Now, she won't be asking me questions like, Woljif, how'd you manage to get out of this one? Or, Woljif, you're so thin, didn't they feed you? No, something serious has gone down, and I just know they want to try to pin something on me. I can feel it in my tail. So, I knew right away that I couldn't go alone. You turned up just in time, Chief. You don't need to do anything when we get there. Just stand behind me and look mean, and I'll handle the rest. Somehow. Let's go, I'll show you the way.
Okay. What? Oh, because that's actually on him. So, what is his... I'll look at his stuff later. I want to know more about you. You're a family thieving. It's your story, but don't tell it just to anyone. My father and mother had a bakery. Their life was great, but the gods never blessed them with any children. One day my mother went to the river to wash some clothes and saw a basket floating downstream inside with a baby, adorable and chubby and fast asleep. It was him. Take care of my little angel. My mother brought me home, and she and my father realized right away that I was heaven sent. They raised me as their own. When I turned 15, my mother showed me my baby blanket. It was embroidered with the coat of arms of an unknown kingdom and all gold thread. Ever since then, I've been looking for my real parents, but it's not easy. Traveling takes money. If you have a few goats, I'll pay you back. Now what? We'll give you a few coins. Thanks a lot, Chief. May Amade, whoever you worship, save you. Okay. I'll tell you that much. I have already gone to take what was rightfully mine, and I'd come back with an army, so I could watch the guards and merchants who pushed me around all my life bow and scrape before me. That's not going to happen. Want to hear the real story? True story is boring. My family is human, both my father and mother. They used to live in a village nearby. I forget the name. When my ma had me, my old man got so mad he almost killed her. Pinned her to the wall and started asking questions like, why is the sun had horns and a tail? Well, my mom told him that her mother, my grandmother, used to fool around with a demon. When he heard this, Daddy Dearest got drunk, trashed the house, and then took off. I don't remember any of this, of course. My grandmother told me I was about 3 years old when my mother brought me to Canabras and left me with my grandma. She said to her, you and your demon have ruined my life. Now you can handle him. And she left. I haven't seen her or my dad since. She did leave a blanket, though. That part was true, but my grandma burned it because it was festive with lice. It Wasn't even good enough to use as a rag. I think after all that, my grandmother saw light, felt rightly ashamed to kiss my horns. I wish. People used to give her trouble for fooling around with the demons. She wasn't welcome anywhere, so she got angry. Normal kids get bedtime stories. The only tales I got was how my dad was worthless, my mom was, well, yeah, and I was a demon spawn. That's a real? Okay. How did you become a tiefling? I already was a tiefling. My maid in life made me a thief. Been in this business since I was a kid. My grandmother used to say, if you don't work, you don't eat. She gave me as an apprentice to Yeager, a tiefling neighbor of ours. He was a cunning old geezer. He knew how to take a purse off anyone's belt, how to cut open bags undetected, even do some magic. Climbed through the basement windows, opened doors from the inside while I was still small enough. Okay. I replayed my grandma for everything she'd done for me, which was absolutely nothing. Why would I feed her if she wasn't bringing me any money? If you don't work, you don't eat. So I took off. I got bored of my teacher too. When I was as much as hinted at leaving, he said I owed him for my education. So I just nodded and I joined the Owlbears, the gang that ran our district, and told them that Eager was working their territory. I don't know what happened to him, but I stayed with the Owlbears and their leader started giving me the cold shoulder. I did steal from him, but never that much. I had to rat them out to the guards, and I joined the Golden Hands. Jeez. Moving up. I would stay with the Golden Hands, but the Northmen promised me a bigger cut if I told them where the Golden Hands kept their loot. I'm no fool, of course, so I told them. After that, I only had one option, join the Northmen. And then the family came. At first, no one took them seriously, calling them thieflings and all that, but I felt it right away. They had the power behind them, and they had more money. I'm always on the winner's side. That's why I joined the Tieflings, and right on time, some thugs came from the capital and made the Northmen leave. Okay. Tell you little, Tieflings are Mendevian thieves. The gang was started in Mendev's capital by someone or another, but soon after they spread all over Galorian. Okay. Wherever we go, guards always hassle us asking us. Summit Hornhead? Okay. There are rules. Okay. So if somebody calls sister, that's pretty low. Birds fly low before the storm. I'm just surviving as best I can. Oh, you're not wrong. In a situation, you're 7 years old, you come home, your own grandma and family is lying there drunk. There's no food because she got wasted in the morning and didn't cook anything. You take this money so you don't starve to death, and then when she wakes up, she beats you because you shouldn't have taken it. Yeah, I'd say that's crazy. What do you think of Canabras? This guy. Everybody's giving us a hard time too. Look as much. Yeah, I can see Erebeth giving you a hard time. I mean, the Tieflings boss. If you're caught by Erebeth, it's all out in the open. You go to prison, you end up as worm food. But if you step on Kirisimi's toes, poof, you're gone, just like that. Damn. You have demon blood in you. Do you feel drawn to the abyss? Why? Are you Inquisitor or something? Is it to you? If I've wronged you somehow, just come out and say it. Don't trick me. Don't ask me trick questions. Your shadow looks strange. What kind of magic is that? That's funny. This looks scary. I remember when I was little, an old beggar showed me and my friends how to make shadow puppets. Your fingers spin and form light that makes the shadow of a deer or a dog. Funny enough, that's... Okay, funny enough, that's the last time I had any real friends. Okay. I shouldn't show. People hate what they don't understand. This is true. You better not talk to me in public at all or you get tarred. Hey, it happens. Okay. Now we are officially done. Did we talk to him? Yeah, we did. We talked to everyone. Okay. It's time to set forth in the world. Okay, this is the global map of Sibi. Wasa to move around. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at the bills that we have here. So Sela, we were going down the Skald build. Improved unarmed. Combat trick crane style. Okay. Okay. The mobility has to be 3. Perception. These are lore. These are lore and religion. Okay, so oh, wait, hold on. This is 3, right? What abilities does she have? Hold on. I don't screw this up. No. But why would you want an unarmed attack? Doesn't make sense. Oh, because you need this. That's why. You have to take unarmed strike to get crane style. And that allows you to fight defensively without all those hits. Remove fear. It's already here. Unbreakable hearts. Feather step or vanish. Go summon monster with this one. As opposed to Unbreakable Heart. Oh, you be. It could be good. We also have. Okay, yeah. Which is nice. Okay, so we're building Camilla just like what Co has her. She's just straight shaman. She could be good later. Change. Okay. Trickery. Mobility. Wolf has stealth. So this is level 3. Weapon focus. Okay. Okay, he's an archer. Um, this goes deadly aim. What does he use? Using a longbow, right? Yes, longbow. Okay. Now, where to go first? So, I think we go to Market Square. The first place we go to. Also, is... How do they have them? They have them as a dagger build. Okay. I'm actually fine with that. Okay. Okay, we might have some hard battles, but I know one of our characters that we can recruit down here. Or at least I think we can get him down here.
Did you see that? I can handle it. Can't make the demons wait. Beautiful.
They will break
You've
against
crossed
our...
Get wrecked. Four.
I heed the voice of the spirits.
Fine.
Let's see what we can do.
Okay, we already went that way.
Save the last one for me.
I got this.
Into the fray!
Oh wow.
It's all your fault.
This pain is excruciating. So this is how it feels.
Ouch.
Open your heart to me.
Magnesium Turinos. Magnesium Turinos.
Oh, hold on. Okay. That's fine.
You can trust me.
My tail is restless.
In case. Because I know ultimately if I don't use them now, I will never use them.
Should I? Here we go. I can handle it.
The Inheritor, guide my blade!
You won't survive me. Damn you!
Let's go.
Can't make the demons wait. Here comes trouble.
Cover me, all right?
Endure this!
The world in crimson!
Are you still here? Beautiful. Let's see what we can do.
Let's clear everything on this side first.
Here we go.
There's Kaylessa. What are you looking at, soldier? Who are you? No point in you knowing. Trust me to answer. The only bring you misfortune. Who wounded you? Didn't you notice to see his brain? There's a battle going on. I was wounded by a cultist. I know who you are. You're a cultist of Discari. The lie. I want to see that perception check there. You're not lying, but you're not telling me the whole truth. Close my heart. You have your war, I have mine. You find chaos and madness. Why would foreign slander you? Asking questions are dangerous in and amongst yourself. I urge you to stop. The more you know about me, the higher chance that the traitor's dagger will find its way in your back. Let's just see how this goes. I believe you. Foreign is at the defender's heart. You should keep clear. It was never my intention. Thank you for believing me. There's no reason to kill her. We don't know what's going on there.
I found something.
Oh yeah! Got some jade moonstone. Oh yeah! Okay, we got it crossed.
Thanks, Lan. You're so
Can
awesome.
we retreat already?
I got this. You've crossed the wrong mongrel. Damn, son!
The world in crimson!
Okay. Let me make sure that we are, in fact, playing it. Okay. We're playing out of core because I don't understand the Pathfinder system completely yet.
Your pain is my pleasure. File shifts. There's a interesting looking chest. Okay. Doors open. We're completely immersed in what's ever up there. If it really is a demon, nothing to fear. We have the power of inspiration after all. Hand me that ladle and rolling pin. Funny. All right, give me a second, guys.
Alright, guys. So, who are these people? Not DM at all. Granny's kind friend and rescuer. I am Grandma Gredin. Okay. These members of my company. It's not a little, it's one of the props for the Malevolent Lich performance. It's a scepter. Okay. Made out of my ladle. Want to use a broom handle? But I paid that daft idea. Okay. What are you doing down there? We're rehearsing. Our arts distract us from fear and panic. Okay. Really? When I'm scared, I eat. Okay. Try that too, but our supplies ran out. But art? Oh. Art is eternal. We get you somewhere safe? Oh, don't worry. On our account, we'll be going to our basement in the next street. That's where our lambkin is. We're not afraid of demons with lambkin around. Lambkin. Our male lead. He'll protect us. Don't worry. We know what we're doing. Okay. Thank you for rescuing a stranger. Today you did great service for Mendivan culture of Glorian. Okay. Strange to say the least, but hilarious. Yeah, check all the nook and crannies. You never know when something's hiding. So we're gonna save it just in case.
No
Cover me, all right?
glory without risk.
Let's see what we can do. Here comes trouble.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna try this again.
All your fault.
What a mess. This is how it feels.
Did you see that?
Wow, what is that? I'm guessing we need magic for that. This physical attacks didn't work.
Here comes trouble.
It's all your fault. Ask nicely.
Okay.
Here we go again.
How do I hold them? H.
The Inheritor, guide my
Cover me, all right?
blade.
See that?
Stab you or zap you? Why not both?
Into the fray.
I got this.
Where's it? Where's the hit things?
I'm gonna try. Your performance is lacking. You are lacking. You've crossed the wrong mongrel. You won't survive me.
The light, take you.
I'll cut you wide open.
Oh, doesn't matter. He's dead. So, what is this?
Something wrong?
Beautiful. Yet another obstacle. You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Cover me, all right?
He's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so we need a buff here.
I am here all week.
I'll watch your back. Open your heart to
Always
me.
be ready for the worst.
We'll win this, one way or the other.
Rely on me.
Don't mind me.
Beautiful. I feel like the
What's
chosen
on your
one.
mind? I wonder.
What's going on here?
Are we in trouble yet?
Something wrong? Fine.
Here comes trouble.
Damn it!
I'll cut you wide open. How it feels.
I got this.
You gotta be kidding me.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Damn you! Are you still here?
I heed the voice of the spirits. The spirits guide me.
Yet another obstacle.
cover me, all right?
Right, take you into the fray.
I'm getting my ass
The
kicked.
spirits demand for blood.
Already.
The inheritor, guide my blade.
Good guys, always win.
Stab you or zap you. Why not both?
Come on, get up. You can dispel this. There we go. Might be nice to get this.
Are all cities on the surface as huge as this? In Canabres, our tribe would be like a drop in the ocean. It's hard to even picture what Neurosian must
So after
be like.
this, I'm gonna call the call it here.
Neurosian! When the war's over, you'll see it. There's always lots going on there, and there's even a few good inns where we can celebrate our victory in style.
It was an insane stream yesterday, though, 100%, and I am just spent. Okay, cool. Gotta scroll out of that. Ooh. Sometimes a long way to rest does not bring the desired relief. What comes is heavy, clinging sleep at the edge of wakefulness, where consciousness seems poised between reality and oblivion. The possible reasons for such disturbed slumber are marine, strained nerves, perhaps, or a lingering reaction to trauma. Prometheus emerges from the oblivion from his laden sleep, like a drowned man dragging himself up from the depths of a swamp. The wound on his chest is burning, like someone pressed an invisible brand to it. The wound is closed again, but the blood stain on his shirt betrays his presence beneath. There's no time to investigate the cause behind his... was it malice? A trying day lies ahead, but how will Prometheus be up to the challenge if his thoughts are still muddled and his body aches like after a day's toil? I can't ignore my health. Better take care of it now rather than later, when it could already be too late. After several moments, the weariness abates, retreat to the depths of subconscious, but leaving the path open to return the next time Prometheus seeks refuge in sleep. Recalls that he slept peacefully in a defender's heart. Perhaps a priest can explain what has happened. Okay. Corruption and nightmares. It's possible that this trip sleep and fatigue even after all this sleep actually happens. So here it is. Nightmares and corruption prevent you from resting well. Corruption increases during rest at different rates. In different areas, when your corruption reaches 1, 2, or 3rd level, various negative effects are applied. There are 3 corruption levels. Okay. Reduces the corruption gain. Okay. Little spoiler there. Little spoiler there. Not really. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. So that will be it for this stream, guys. But don't forget, tomorrow we'll be back with some more Pathfinder. But I am absolutely spent after streaming twice yesterday with the Blue Jays franchise and with the Madden franchise. And just today I've been just completely lagging behind. So hopefully tomorrow we'll be back at it with a clear head and a long stream. We'll see how that goes, but hopefully that's the case. We'll hop back into some more Pathfinder. What I plan on doing is putting out a channel update soon, so look out for that one. But otherwise, thanks for hanging out. If you're over on Twitch, go ahead and scroll down. You'll see the YouTube button there. Go check out the YouTube where this playthrough will be saved, so if you want to see our first part. But yeah, tomorrow we'll get some good progress going. So I'll see you guys then. Later, guys.